Alright, I'm in my backyard today and I'm going to be tapping into this maple tree right here, hoping to get some sap out so I can make some maple syrup. I think just about any maple tree you can take the sap and make syrup from, but I'll always double check to make sure it's okay. I did this last year and it turned out really good. So if you look, actually you can see right about here is where I had the hole last year and it healed up quite nicely. So hard to believe there was almost a 1/4 inch hole right there. So the time to do this is when the temperature at night is below freezing and the temperature during the day is above freezing. So no matter where you live, that's kind of the rule of thumb to use. And here in Colorado it's March, so we're pretty much to that point. So we'll tap into this tree and we'll see how it goes. So here are the supplies I like to have. I have my drill. That's how we're going to make the hole. This is a 5/16 bit, and I've got it taped off 1.5 inches from the tip of the bit to the back, so that I can know when to stop drilling. You don't want to go in much further than 1.5 inches. These are my taps. These are sized accordingly with this bit, and I'll just tap those in. I like to have a hammer just in case they're a little bit stiff going in. And then I have these hefty bags that are 2.5 gallons, and they're pretty good bags. And what I do is I connect this silicone tubing to the tap, and then I run it into the bag, and then as the sap comes out it just fills up the bag, and then I can transport that into jugs or into the stock pot and get it going or whatever. So that seems to work out really well. You don't need much more than that, although I do have a bucket here, and that's where I put the bag so that it doesn't roll away when it's filling up. So works pretty well, and we'll see what comes next. Alright, so last year I drilled it right here. I don't want to go too close to that, but the tree did heal up very nicely, so I'm not too worried about it. But I want to make sure I'm a few feet off the ground, and then I've heard that the south side of the tree is the best to drill into. I don't know if it's true or not, but maybe it is, so I'm going to go ahead and stick with that. This is the south side. I might try to come over here a little bit more. I gotta make sure I have a nice flat spot for my bucket. So maybe I'll come in from this side a little bit and just move around the tree. So let's go ahead and we'll go over here. And again, I got my drill taped off. I'm gonna make it a slight angle upward. And let's go ahead and drill. And look at already, you see that moisture coming out? That is the good stuff. So let's get this tap in place. And I gotta find my hammer. Where did I leave it? It's right by my foot. All right. All right. And you can see that tap is already dripping a ton. So now's the time to connect our tubing. Make sure it's all sterilized and clean. And connect that tubing. I just like to run it into the bag. Obviously you want to make sure it's not going to pop out or anything. But get all the air out. Run it in. I like to zip it up all the way to the end there, and then just drop that into the bucket. If you got a cover for your bucket, that's better too. But giving it a place to gather, and then as long as you got a nice flat area, it should work well. So as you can see, we got our sap coming through already. You need a lot, so hopefully we get a good amount. Obviously, also you want to make sure that that tube is going straight into the bag and not having like a low spot. You want it upright too, so you just got to get it so it's just right. And once it fills up more, it's a little bit easier to play with. But that should do it. yeah, that's it. And that's all it takes. All right, so we're gonna repeat the process over here just in case the video didn't show it correctly on the other one, but we're going into this tree. I'm gonna see if I can find where I drilled in last year on this one. Oh, there it is right there. Healed up nicely. Man, it's hard as can be. So that's the spot from last year. I'm gonna try to get on the sunnier side of the tree this year, see if that makes a difference. But we'll go right about here, and we're gonna go in 1.5 inches. So let's see if we can get this. All right, and when we get our tap, we just tap it in. And then, oh, the sap's already flowing too. That's perfect. And then we put our tubing on, and we just run it into our bag. This is the easy part. The hard part is boiling it down. So I do need to find a bucket for this bag, but for the most part, we are set and ready to go. If I can get that leaf out of there. Get all the debris off of this tube. Yeah, not too bad. And that's that. You can see the drops flowing down. Beautiful sight. Well, it's been a couple hours, and I haven't been out here to check, but if you look, we have gathered quite a bit of sap into this bag. That's a really good sign. So one thing you want to do is make sure you check the buckets every so often in the bag so that you can empty them if they need to be emptied. The last thing you want is for the bags to overflow. So good to check these. Good to see we're making some progress. Still got a ways to go, but we are on our way. Good to see. I did set up one in another tree I have, and I'm gonna go over there and check that too. Look at these little birds. See, they're drinking the sap too. Isn't that funny? Yeah, and as that pressure develops in the tree, that sap will start squeezing out of the bark. So let's see how we're doing on this one. Yeah, about the same as the other bag, so that's good to see. Coming right along. I used an old trash can for this one because I only have one bucket. But kind of cool that the sap's already dripping out. The birds know it, and you wonder if that's how people clued into this in the first place. So very interesting. But I better get out of here for the birds to get mad at me for stealing their sap supply. So that is day one of how to make maple syrup. It's not a complicated process, but it's kind of fun. It tastes good too when you get to the final product. And maple syrup can be expensive, but once you make it, you kind of understand why when you realize just how much fuel goes into evaporating all that water to get to the syrup, or the sugar, I should say. But anyhow, thanks for tuning in. I'll do a follow-up. You can see the rest of the process.